Hey everybody, Matt Michaels here with the Vegas Badboyz of Podcasting, and today I am joined by the one and only Hunter Jackson. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. Everything is going to be all right, dude. It really is.
Well, you know what? It's either we're headed for good times or we're headed for the apocalypse. So either way, we win, right?
Well, shit, the world was supposed to end in 2012. One of the characters that I've been playing at Freak Show Wrestling is this guy who's supposed to be from the future, and his name is Death Reaper 2012. And I've been playing him since 2010. But then 2012 came and went. So now he's like, keeps looking at his watch going, what's going on, man? So we're in double overtime now. The world was supposed to end. First it was going to be 2000. I was sure the world was going to end in 2000, but then it was like, no, it's going to be 2012. Really, it's going to be 2012. And I knew this like crystal hippie chick that was telling me one year, it's going to be September 23rd. I was like, really? Wow. And, but no, not that time either. So who knows, man? I'm still waiting. Come on, what's happening? What's going on?
Well, let me ask you about Freak Show Wrestling. How did you first hook up with Sinn Bodhi, and what's the connection there? And what's your memories of some of the good shows that you took a part of here in Vegas with Freak Show?
Oh man, I love Vegas. Vegas has been so good to me, man. And that's where it all started. That's where my whole wrestling career started, because I was hanging out with this band called the Radioactive Chicken Heads. And they're sort of like an offshoot of Green Jello. A lot of the guys, in fact, they used to be Green Jello at one point. And
sure.
They went off and formed their own thing called the Radioactive Chicken Heads, where they all dress up like chickens and stuff. A lot of people like put them down. Oh, it's a GWAR ripoff and stuff, but really it's not. It's really different from GWAR, But anyway, so some of the people in that band were getting married, and they were going to do it at a show in Las Vegas, and they were describing it to me that it was going to be a crazy show with like professional wrestling and all this stuff happening, and Jake the Snake Roberts was going to deliver the the wedding ceremony, and so I was like, wow, that sounds like fun. How can I get in on that? And so they introduced me to Sinn Bodhi, who was running the show. And Jake the Snake Roberts is his wrestling mentor, by the way. And so I went there, and Sinn Bodhi put me in the show. And I wrestled against this guy, Alcatraz, who his gimmick is he's the baddest man on the cell block 16 or something like that. And he's supposed to be a prison inmate. He's got all these tats all over. He was actually a professional boxer who was dabbling in wrestling. And man, his biceps were like as big around as my thighs and stuff. And so I had a match with him. It was really quick, and it was really fun. And Sinn Bodhi and I hit it off. And his show is so crazy. He does all kinds of stuff. A lot of wrestlers that have just left the WWE will be at his show. Like I met Crime Time, and he introduced me to Brian Kendrick, and I trained at Brian Kendrick's school, Santino Brothers School, which I would highly recommend to anybody that's interested in learning about wrestling. And with Sinn Bodhi, man, I was working with this guy who was doing the gimmick before I met him. He was called Cereal Man, right? And he has a cereal box on his head with a face, sort of like Powdered Toast Man from Ren and Stimpy,
Yeah.
And I, because of my experience with GWAR, I helped him. I taught him about how to make things with rubber and all that. We revamped his mask, and with Sinn Bodhi, we did a whole bunch of these anti-gravity matches where we would pretend like the gravity I stacked up. In fact, this is the anti-gravity machine behind me. We would stack it up in the ring corner, and then act like as you fuck with the anti-gravity machine, it makes the gravity in the ring shift. So we would all go, wah, and fall to one side, and stuff like that. And, so Sinn Bodhi also Sinn Bodhi let me experiment with bringing all the blood and gore and stuff like that I did through GWAR into the wrestling ring, which was super awesome. And I'll tell you, man, we like Serial Man and I were doing these matches that we were calling them the blood bath for a balanced breakfast. And I was popping the blood bags all over the place. The match would get so super crazy gory. You can, if you want to see some of this stuff, you can look it up on my website, House of Huntar, too. Let me bring in the Freak Show Wrestling. Let the audience see the Freak Show Wrestling poster that I did. This is one of the things that's available at House of Huntar. And see, this has got a lot of the funny Freak Show wrestler characters like Gadolf Hitler and Stink Floyd. There's Serial Man in the background. And this was Funny Bone, who was like this super acrobatic, really incredibly good wrestler. He had the belt all the time. And Scorch, the fire-breathing clown, too. And this is like a tribute to like everybody's favorite artist, Jack Kirby. It's like, don't tell anybody, but it's really Fantastic Four number 82. And this is one of the many amazing things that's available on my website, houseofhuntar.com.
With keeping yourself busy, you've, like you said, you've had all this experience with doing things for GWAR in terms of effects and costuming, and you've been building and fighting monsters for a new movie. What is the deal with Alien Danger?
So I met this guy named James Balsamo, and I recognized his name when I first met him. I'm like, I know I recognize your name from somewhere. And it turns out that back when I was doing GWAR, I used to do this fan club newsletter called Mind Control Monthly. And I remember his name because he subscribed to it, and I used to always send him so much GWAR shit all the time that's where I remember his name from. So anyway, he's from New York. He worked at Troma Films, which is famous for doing the Toxic Avenger movies and stuff like that. And so he saw what they were doing at that place, and they were like, man, I could do this myself. So he came out to California and started his own film company. And he's put out like 30 movies, like different kinds of spatter flicks and crazy stuff like that. He just this past week debuted his new movie, It Wants Blood, at the Chinese Man Theater. No shit. And,
wow.
Had a big red carpet opening for it and all this crazy stuff like that. And his distributor, he has a distribution deal with Kmart and Target and all like that. So if you pull up their catalog online, you can see his movies in there, you know. Wow. And he's been able to tap, as an independent filmmaker, he's been able to tap into that audience by working the convention circuit a lot and stuff like that. And he gets a lot of actors, that big name actors that aren't really doing anything right now. Like, in fact, for instance, It Wants Blood has the main character in it is played by Lita from WWE. You know, it's a story about two corrupt politicians that each one has enlisted a demon to help them win all the elections and stuff. And it ends up with the two demons fighting. It's hard. It's really hard to tell which one is the good guy and bad guy, but you know, politics is like that. But so anyway, his distributor said, we really want you to make a more of a G-rated, PG-rated movie, because all of his movies have lots of boobs and blood in it, you know? And so his distributor was pushing him to make a movie for kids, and his daughter is like 14 years old or something like that. So he wanted to make a kids movie, and he decided to try to do a science fiction movie. So he from seeing me on Facebook and stuff, he contacted me. We both live in the LA area, so I started building stuff for him. And in his last movie, he had Techno Destructo play a little part where I come in and fight some monsters and stuff. And it was so much fun that he said, I want you to come back and I'll give you a bigger part in the next one. So in the next movie, in Alien Danger, I actually got to do wrestling stuff where I got in the ring with, are you ready for this? The the Barbarian and the Warlord. They used to they wrestled for the WWE as Powers of Pain. But when I was 20 years old, going and drooling over the wrestling shows and stuff, they used to wrestle for the super intense mid Atlantic wrestling, which is what I used to go see at the Richmond Coliseum, which was really close to the Slave Pit GWAR studio. So we used to go there and watch wrestling all the time, and nobody had to drive, so we would get totally shit faced. And so I haven't done GWAR in a long time. You know, we split up a long time ago. It wasn't very pretty, and I don't really want to talk about the ugly aspects of it or anything like that. But they got in touch with me recently to do the 30th anniversary of the Live from Antarctica show, and they recreated the stuff from that. And you know, a lot of the dudes are getting old. Not me. I'm not talking about me, but a lot of the people are like so old they can't do this shit anymore. And I mean, I've always gotten off on exercise and been really uptight about what I eat and shit like that. And I got like severe liver damage from working with all the latex rubber and crazy chemicals. So I stopped drinking alcohol, which actually boosted my health like you wouldn't believe. And you know, I've always been, as far as drugs and shit goes, I've always been lucky enough that I saw enough people ruin their lives with that shit that I never was even interested in it and stuff. I just smoked pot and stuff. So I'm still like ready to rock. I can't wait to get on this tour and raise hell every night, man. It's gonna be fun. And I'm kind of like out of shape right now, but I'm gonna COVID fuck me because all the gym shows shut down.
Right.
You know? And before COVID, I was like, my wrestling shit was really taking off. I was gonna debut my midget sidekick, dude. I was gonna do a show for Micromania, which is a little person wrestling show, and I was gonna debut my little person sidekick with his arm. He was gonna be called Destructo Bite, right? And the show got shut down. I mean, the week that LA shut down, it was going to be that Friday, you know, and I was like, fuck, you know, it sucked. But so then all the gyms shut down, you know, and an old ass man like me, I was in killer shape, and an old ass man like me, once the gym shut down, it's hard for me to get it back, dude. But I'm working on it, and I'll be there by the time GWAR show comes around. I'm going to be in the best shape of my life and ready to kick ass every night, man. It's going to be fun. It's really going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So there you go. And Slimenstra, I didn't really do a good job of plugging the Las Vegas show, but Slimenstra is planning on being at the Las Vegas show. That's one of the few shows of the tour that she's actually going to be there. And she still is, I don't know, you know, she's had like a hip replacement operation and shit, man. And but she's still gonna breathe fire. She's still gonna be awesome. I mean, if you guys saw the live stream, and I think they're gonna put it out on DVD or whatever, or maybe you can access it any time or whatever. But if you see that live stream that we just did, wow, man, she looked great, man. She was awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And it's Executioner too.
The best thing about everything is that honestly, that things have worked out where you're able to, you know, enjoy yourself again with the guys. And I think that's, to me, you know, the fans, of course, are going to be very pleased and excited. But I think personally, that's a lifelong, you know, working relationship you had with the guys. And it's nice that things have brought you guys back together. But the other thing I want to get to really quick is the comic books you did for GWAR. You've got a new comic series coming out, When Heroes Roam the Earth, and it's about post-apocalyptic superheroes. Wow, man, I am so excited. I'm like, oh,
yeah. This is a poster, and this is a comic strip that I serialized in the GWAR Slave Pit Funnies comic book originally. It's about this character, Lady Liberty, and she fights against these neo-Nazi, undead neo-Nazi characters and stuff. And it's all about like this sexy chick ripping all these robots apart. It's really fun. It's really fun. And but on top of that, one of the main reasons I wanted to get back together with GWAR is I've been working on a compilation book too of all the artwork I ever did for GWAR. And I mean, I did like 1 million logos, 1 million T-shirt designs, and like tons of comics, tons and tons of comics that all talk about the origin stories behind GWAR and origins of the different characters, and some like, or almost like music videos where I'll take the song and then do a thing about a comic strip about the song, or an adaptation of a live show event that we did, or something like that. So
Yeah,
I've been doing comics for a really long time, and it's going to be fun to put this one out because it's been serialized before a long time ago, but I added a lot of new material to it too, a lot of new pages of art as well. I think there's something like, the whole thing is like 48 pages long, and I think there's something like 12 pages of new shit in it. So it's really going to be fun, and I think fans are going to like it. But it'll be fun to see all the fans again on the road and stuff, and all like that.
We got it. Okay, it's ready.
That's right. It's me, Techno Destructo. And I'm here to bring intellectual enlightenment to all of you pathetic, weak earther worms who are actually listening to some kind of weak and pathetic interview with that lame-ass art bag, Hunter Jackson. And here I am, Techno Destructo, ready to wreak havoc. But I will answer your questions if you like.
Okay, Mr. Destructo, why are you back? What the hell is going on? Why are the Destructos coming back after so long to take down GWAR? I don't understand what is happening.
What do you mean back? I've been stuck on this planet the whole time. I've just been pursuing other endeavors. Besides, I suffered severe brain damage in my many battles over the centuries, and it takes a long time for it to grow back together. And some parts, somehow my memory knits back together. It takes a while, though. It takes a while. But during my lapse in my adventures with the scum dogs of the universe, I became a professional wrestler and wrestled amongst the biggest names of wrestling on planet Earth. I wrestled for Freak Show Wrestling. I wrestled for ARW Wrestling in Florida just recently. And I wrestled with my arch nemesis, Sinn Bodhi, the warlord of weird. You never know what he's going to do next. He's pinned me down with cinder blocks and then pounded on my certain sensitive areas with sledgehammers before, just for the amusement of his mindless followers. And many other things, too. So it's not like I haven't been around taking my lumps the whole time during my absence from destroying GWAR.
So what you're telling me is that this whole time you've been preparing, you've been physically violent with other people, you've taken the violence all in building up to come back and take GWAR down. Is that what I'm understanding?
No. What I really mean is that I was checking out greener pastures as I wandered around on my religious sabbatical, encountering strange earth creatures. But now I've decided that the time is ripe to go back, and I'm going to seek my ultimate limitless revenge on that weak and pathetic odorous Uranus. And I'm going to rip his brain out, eat it, swish it around in my mouth, and spit what's left into the audience. And maybe that will shower them with new understanding. Don't you think?
I believe that eating Otis's brain. Wow. The tour is coming up here.
I can't wait to feel his squishy head in my claw again, just like the old days. It'll be so nice. Now that my memory is coming back to me, I've dreamed of this moment, and so has my claw. Even now, my claw is spattered with enough brains and blood matter from that weak and pathetic excuse. And every once in a while, I'll taste a little bit of it, and it'll bring back the memory of how sweet it was to rip it out of his head in the first place. And when I tour again with those that used to torment me in the past, once again, my claw will taste his brain as I squish it out. Like that. And I know that's what you want to see too, isn't it?
Secretly, yes, I actually do. But from a more, non-feared perspective, let me ask you: the tour is about to happen, November 20th. You guys will be in Las Vegas. Is there anything we can expect that maybe the fans haven't seen in many, many years?
Well, something the fans haven't seen in many years. It is possible that some of the ancient members of GWAR may return. Some of those who are seen rarely and often not at all. And I believe that one of them is someone that I used to fight a lot and was the main reason why I sort of began to feel somewhat apprehension. I don't want to call it fear, but because of her, I had a slight misgiving about attacking GWAR again and again. Because of her, I suffered untold pain and suffering. My armor was stripped from me for a time, and I wandered the earth with GWAR, reduced to one of their slaves.
Well,
that actually happened too.
I know it very well. And do you think that your awakening now puts you in a better spot than you've ever been to finally just end GWAR before we know it? It just seems like the odds are stacked against them, and the fights are going to be epic. And I'm just afraid that us fans of GWAR will not have a band to enjoy after your total destruction of GWAR.
That's true. The few audience members who are lucky enough to survive the show, they will be scarred forever. Their memories will be scarred forever once they wake up in the hospital. And then all of their friends will come, but their only friends that will still be alive were their friends that weren't cool enough to go to the GWAR show. And only the legend will remain. But this is the time, GWAR fans. I know that you've been wanting me to destroy GWAR for a long time. And I know that some of you out there, some of you don't like the direction that GWAR has taken in the last years. And this is your chance to enjoy your revenge as the one true, the OG scumdog of the universe comes back to town. So this is going to be GWAR's final tour. And if you want to be able to remember ever seeing GWAR, if you've never seen them before, this is the time. If you've seen them before, this is going to be the last time. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And they're here to make sure that that's the right way.
Oh my gosh.
I'm losing you guys. I'm losing you.